Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to start the process of turning this book, well this shell of a book, into a album. Now when I cut the actual pages out of this book, I accidentally cut through this cover here, so I've got some double-sided tape on there just to keep it in place while I'm working on it. So that's what I've got there at the moment. Now I'm planning on using fabric. I've got sticky tape on there. I'm planning on using fabric on the inside and the outside, and I've chosen this one. It's it's only got a very light sort of pattern on it. It's got a bit of grey. It's a cream with a sort of grey and white design on it, and this is what it is. It's a flat fat, and it is neutral, and it's 100% cotton, and I'm going to iron that so that I haven't got all of those creases in there. So this actually measures 50 by 52 centimetres, and it will be enough to do the inside and outside of my book because it's a fairly small book. So I'll go and press this and then I'll come back. Okay, so plans have changed. When I took the double-sided tape off of this so that I could work with it with a wet medium, the actual cover was completely off. So I decided to go a different way. Another problem was that the pattern on the front of the book showed through this fabric. So when that's on there, you can still see, you know, the writing underneath and so on. So what I've decided to do is use the covers, but use them in a different way because they're nice covers. They're nice and sturdy. So I'm going to put a chipboard spine in them, and to get somewhere near the thickness of these covers, as you can see they're fairly thick, I'm going to have to stick 2 layers of this quite thick chipboard together, and then I'm going to use this part, which was the inside of the book, as the outside of the book, and I will put the fabric on that, and then on the inside I'll put paper, so that will completely cover that up. So that's my plan at the moment. So I need to stick these two together, so I'll do that with some liquid glue. We've got plenty of glue on here. We want to make sure this is going to stay stuck together because this is actually the strength in our spine. So because it's liquid glue, we can have got a little bit of playtime there, but not much with this glitter glue. It does dry fairly quickly. Doesn't give you a great deal of manoeuvre time. Okay, so that's that stuck together. Now what I need to do now is cut my fabric, which I have pressed. I need to cut my fabric to size next. So I'll get the gear I need and come back and do that. So now I need to work out how big I want my fabric to be. Now I want my fabric to wrap around by 1 inch all over. So I want, it's got to be, well, they are 5 3/4, so I would just write these down on a piece of paper. So 5 3/4 for that one, and of course this one would be the same hopefully, so that's another 5 3/4. And then my spine is 1 3/4. So 3, 6, 9. That's 1 1/2. 1/4, 2, 3, 13 1/4. That's the actual measurement of the cover. And then I want 1 inch and 1 inch, so 2 inches on top of that. So it needs to be 15 1/4. And the height is 8 1/2. 8 1/2. Plus I want an inch at the top and an inch on the bottom, so that's 2 inches, so it has to be 10 1/2. So I need my fabric to be 15 1/4 by 10 1/2. Okay, so I want to cut this way 10 1/2 inches. So if I line that up so that it's on the edge there and this edge is straight, let's assume that they've cut that straight, which they haven't. One of the edges here is not straight. So let's see if I straighten an edge first, eh? Well, here's the selvage, that's got to be straight. So put that on there. Level on there, and then come out here 10 1/2 inches. Cannot see the bottom of the mat. If I put that there, I can't guarantee that that's put that level with. So I'm lining this red line up with that red line there, so that I know that this is straight here and this is straight here. So when I cut down here, it should be, and I'm going to cut down there more than 15 1/4 so that I've got a bit of fabric to play with. So I've cut down there the full, well, not really the full length of the mat, but okay. Right, so that is near enough to straight, I think. Straight enough for this exercise. I'm just going to cut that with my scissors. Okay, so this was the one that was 10 1/2, was it? Yes, because it's got the selvage on it. So from 5 to 10. Now I'm going to use that across there to straighten this edge up. So I'm going to come across here, line my ruler up along that edge and trim that one. And then I'm going to turn that over that way and cut this at, oh, that's not straight there. Oh yeah, that's alright. So now I'm going to cut this one at 15 1/4. So line it up there, so it's straight, and come along here, well, that's not straight, 15 1/4. Tell you I'm no. So now I'm going to cut along here at, well, I'll just do 15 1/2 because it doesn't have to be that exact. Oh, I've got it here, I might as well just do the 15 1/4. Okay. So 15 1/4, and there is my cover. So I'll just tidy this up and I'll come back. Okay, so now I'm going to add Mod Podge to here, I've just got this satin Mod Podge. I haven't used it for a very long time, so I'll need to give it a good stir up, I think. Just going to use my palette knife to do that. Oh no, pretty good. As I said, I haven't used this for years, so it's kept quite well. Just throw that into a tub of water. Now I'm going to add Mod Podge to the cover. I'm just doing that on top of this silicone mat because otherwise, because I want to get right to the edge, if I did it on my craft desk, I would have a big mess. So we want to get a nice even layer on here. Try and keep it nice and smooth. Take it right to the edges because we want it to grab everywhere. Okay, and now I'm going to put this down onto my fabric. Oops. With this side out, and I'm going to sort of position that as about there. Put these two out of the way. Move this out of the way. Bring this down here and press that down as firmly as I can. Flip it over and smooth it down. Good idea to start from the centre. Oopsie, that's not what I wanted to do. You don't want creases like that. Okay, you might want to, I've got a brayer here, I might just run over it with that. But I think that it's fairly well stuck down and nice and even. There's no real creases in that. So that is good. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the centre section. So this spine, give this a coat of my Podge. Now this is not quite as thick as the covers, but I don't think that's going to matter. I think that with the fabric being so flexible, that will take that problem away. So I'm going to just move this out of the way, bring this down here, and I want to position this so that I've got a little bit of a gap, so that when I actually close, you want the thickness of your spine gap. So I'm going to go about there. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to flip that over. I didn't even check really that I've got the fabric the right way up, but as luck would have it, I have. But here's a little tip for you. If you're going to do this, make sure you've got your fabric facing the right way up before you stick your covers to it. So this is the first time I've done a fabric cover, so it's a little bit of trial and error. We're learning this together. Okay, so that's the spine and the back cover. Now we're going to do the front cover. I might just wipe that down because I don't want to be getting glue all over the inside of my cover at this stage. So I've got enough off to go on with, so now I'm just going to do the back. Oh, this is actually the back, this is going to be the front of the cover of the book. So once again, take it right to the edges. Seems to dry fairly quickly, doesn't it? Oh, it does dry fairly quickly, I'm finding. So, pick that up, take that out of the way, bring this down. So this is going to go on that way. There's a bit of a bump there. Put that so that it's about the same distance away as that one. So about 1/8 of an inch, because I'm allowing 1/8 of an inch for there. And then we can flip that over and smooth it down. You can see there now the difference in the... Actually, that's a bit of a trick, isn't it? Should have put some white cardboard on that so that it was the same colour as the rest of it. Well, so there's a little trick for you. If you're going to use a different coloured spine, make sure you put some white cardstock on it so it matches up. But I will, well, I'll see what needs to be done when I come to decorate it. Okay, so there we have our cover. You can see that that is probably not quite far enough away, but I think it's too late to change that now. Yes, it is. So we're just going to have to work with that. So when I said to leave a gap here, I haven't left quite enough gap on this one. This one seems to be okay because that shuts up fairly well. But this one is a tight fit. So that's going to take a little bit of work to make that want to go over there. Now we're going to put some Mod Podge along here. First of all, we will cut our corners off. So I'll want my scissors for that. So just something like that. I'm not too concerned about this because we will put some paper over this and cover these rough corners. You won't see them. Doesn't it? Anyway, right, so first of all I'm going to run some Mod Podge. Make sure you get down on the edge of your book cover so that your paper, or your fabric I mean, sticks to the whole thing, goes right over and right down into that section there. And then we can fold that piece up onto that so that it's nice and smooth. You can see here what I meant about, you can see the cover, you can see the pattern through the fabric. If I had a darker fabric it would have been okay. I didn't have a darker fabric, so it's not okay. Now I've got Mod Podge there, so I'm going to just use a baby wipe to clean that up because I don't really want it there at this stage now that I've got that stuck down. Okay, so now we'll move around to this side, wiping the excess glue off of here. Baby wipes are so annoying. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing for this one. So we're going to run some Mod Podge along here. I'm putting it down in those grooves. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but anyway, that's the way I'm going to do it. And I'm putting the glue along the edge just like we did last time so that we're getting right down into there. And now we're going to fold this up check how it, oh, the corner's not very good, so fold that in like so, and then up. Same for this corner, or no, we'll do that corner when we do the next thing. Okay, stick that down. So, and I can see that I've got glue coming out there, so I'm just going to run my finger along there, make sure that everything is stuck down here where the fabric's overlapping fabric, so tidy that corner. Around to the next one. So we're going along there. We've got fabric tack that we don't want there. Okay, now on here. Over the top of that fabric there. Down in the corners or down along the edges. We want that to stick on the edges as well. And then fold that corner in and fold that up. And fold that up, make sure it's nicely folded over, nicely creased into place. And I'm just going to wipe the glue off the outside there. They're getting a bit sticky and everything's sticking to them. Okay. Now, the last one. So, once again, we're going to put a row of my Podge in here. I am, as I said before, going right down into that ditch, but whether you need to or not, I'm not sure, but so far so good, it seems to work okay. Okay, now fold your corner in and lift that up and over. Make sure it's pulled nice and firmly around. Bring that corner in. That corner is not good. That corner is not good at all. So you can see there that that corner I've cut it too close and it is not going to look pretty. So I'm going to have to fiddle around with that to try and neaten it up a little bit. See how I go. Wipe all that excess off. And along the bottom there. Now I'm going to use this to push my fabric down into those grooves. You should have done that before the glue dried up there. while I'm there. So there we have our cover, the outside cover, and my album basically assembled. I'm going to let that dry for a few minutes and then I'll come back and we'll fix the insides. Okay, so I'm going to use a piece of the same fabric to reinforce my spine on the inside. So I've cut a piece that is just shorter than the book, and I'm going to add some Mod Podge onto this spine area here. I'm going to put it down into the groove because I'm going to try and poke this down into the groove. Although, having said that, I haven't really got the room in the groove to spare. Side up, and I'm only at this stage putting it in here because it will be easier to handle. So I'm just rubbing that in, and I'm going to get my little scraper and push that into the corners. So I've got a nice firm fix in there. Okay. Try and make it as flat as possible because we're going to be stitching our signatures onto this section, so we don't want to make it hard for ourselves. And once we've got that section stuck down, we can run a bit along here, glue along here, and then stick that down as well. And then just smooth that out. Being careful not to pull it out of here. Just got a bit there. So, trying to make sure that we've got all of our edges stuck nicely. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Take that up right to the edges. And then roll that out. Wipe off the excess there. See that that's not stuck properly there. And I have got a bit of a groove there. It is a bit hard to see. glue there, I think. Okay, so that's looking good. So now, because that's done with fabric, that spine will never come off. It will take a lot for that fabric to tear. It's very flexible and yeah, very handy. Much more flexible than paper and much more sturdy than paper. So I'm going to let that dry now until until it's dry. And then when it's dry, I'll come back and we'll finish off the inside of the cover here. Now before I put my pattern paper on here, I'm going to put a closure on, and to do that I'm going to use some sari silk. I've chosen this one because it blends in nicely with my fabric that I've got on my cover. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces, probably about that long. And I'm going to use my art glitter glue to attach these here. I'm going to spread these out. Just choose about the centre there. Put some glue on here. And then just lay that on top like that. And the reason I'm spreading it out is because when I put my pattern paper on top of here, I don't want it to be too bulky. And I'll do the same on this side. So I want it to be around about the same area. So if I put that about like so, they will be close enough to the same. It's not it's not imperative that you do this, but I like to get them somewhere around the mark. Once again, spread that end out so it's nice and flat, and stick it down. You could use Fabri-Tac, but I've found that the art glitter glue does a good job, and I haven't had any come out once they're stuck down, and it doesn't take long to grab, so that's another good thing in its favour. Okay, so now I'm going to add my paper to the inside here. Now I'm going to use some, this is Avocado dyed paper that I made myself, and I'm going to use that on the inside. So what I'm going to do is just cut that straight there. That little piece, even though it's torn, will be okay because I will glue it down and it will be okay to stay in place. So it's nice and level. Put that so it's straight, a little bit more. This I can use for other things throughout the page, throughout the book. And now I'm going to attach that to that, and I'm just going to leave a little border like that all the way around. You can see that I've come over into the spine, and when I attach that, I'm going to make sure I push that paper down into that groove. Plenty of glue onto this area here. Now you can use double-sided tape for this, or you could also use your Mod Podge or your matte medium, whatever you like to use to stick paper down. But this is just copier paper that I have dyed, so I don't think it needs a great deal or a heavy glue, because it will stick quite nicely. I'm just going to run my bone folder, so I'm going to make sure I get that down into there. I want that to go down into the spine, but I don't want to tear it, so it's a bit of a juggling act. And as I said, this is just printer paper, so it's not that sturdy. And you can see here that where that little tear was, you wouldn't even know it was there now. And that secures our tie in there as well. So now I'm going to use another piece of the avocado dyed paper. I'm going to let that overlap. I'm just going to mark this where I want to cut it. So probably about there. Bring that down and do the same thing. Now this one, as you can see, the pattern is not as dark. So I'll do it that way, and I'll get more of the pattern on there. Yeah. So I'll do that. Like that about there. And trim that off. Now this doesn't have to be that precise, because it is going to overlap that centre section of the spine. So that will sit there like so. Okay, some glue. Make sure we get as close as we can to the edges, because we want that to stick down nicely. Now, by using this paper on this pattern side of the cover, completely covers up the pattern. Of course, you can't see anything through the paper, so that was my idea of turning that book cover over. It would help me disguise the print. Now I'm trying to make sure I match these up here, and I want them to move over, so I've got a nice border, same sort of border all the way around. And once again, I'm going to use my bone folder to push that into that groove. Slightly off whack there. And also to make sure that that's stuck down firmly onto my cover. So there we have the cover for this. Just cut those off. So there's the cover for my new book, new journal. and we've got a closure with our tie, which we'll just tie in a bow when we get around to that. I'm going to put two signatures in here, and yeah, so there we go. That's our cover constructed for our new album. So I hope you have found that easy to follow along with, and I hope you'll have a go at making one yourself. This will be like a series. I'll do a stage at a time, working my way through this album, and if you want to join me, follow along, it would be fun. Okay, so there we are. That's my first album cover that I've done with fabric, and I have to say I am quite pleased with it at this stage. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you can join me for the next series, or for the next episode in this. It'll be selecting papers for the signatures and creating the signatures, probably stitching them in as well. Okay, alright, I'll see you then. Bye.